And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Fated Continuum, the legendary journeys. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me, I have three of my good brothers and sisters here in the temple. One of whom I need to re-put in their reactive because it is acting up. But making her return after a lengthy amount of time. We do have good sister Loon, who managed to fly into the right window this time instead of cosplaying as those birds at US Bank Stadium.
Look, that was one time. That was one time, man.
Sometimes one time is enough.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You get in one car accident, and then you're driving under 20 for about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I nearly got T-boned.
That's what my ex told me before breaking up with me.
Oh.
Sometimes one time is enough.
You know, my dad said the same thing to my mom, too.
But let me make sure I get you in the right spot. Normally I don't do this on the fly, but
I mean, we're not VTubers if something doesn't break on stream.
My stream crashes about once a stream, so like it's fine.
Well, that's technically correct. The best kind of correct. I can still try and keep things on point. Still, this now. Of course, we have two returning good brothers and sisters. We have the man who lost his number and was given a letter. Good brother A.
You know, as soon as I'm able to count, I'll find my number.
I believe in you.
And our resident sheep, who may or may not have headbutted her way in. Good sister Maki.
Hello. For once.
So
I am not the singular token woman hire in this scenario.
You're not.
I didn't even hire you. You broke in.
Wait, hold on. Is
Same
people are getting
thing.
paid?
Wait, you guys are getting
paid?
I'm not getting paid. This is why I'm drinking. But
well, maybe if you didn't drink, you would get paid more.
No.
Okay.
But I've been dancing. I danced around it for the longest time. If I was doing these chronologically, I would have tackled this entry months ago. But we are at what is for now going to be the last entry for the Fated Continuum series, which has been an interesting ride revisiting some of these projects, as well as the difficulties in adapting. No matter what, the NES era of Final Fantasy will always be the trickiest to adapt within my system. And see that Riona's like, I take no responsibility for any and all wall-wide round holes in the monastery walls. It's called a durability test. It's the same reason why you have cell phone cases getting beat to hell and back to test their durability, or the different forms of drop tests.
Like how big are these round holes? Are they people size? Are they bigger? Are they smaller? I have more questions.
Big enough to be a headache for a civic engineer.
You know how little that narrows it down?
What's an engineer?
Translation. This is a tits reference.
Oh, yeah, that would do it.
But now, when it comes to 14, I feel like 14 has had something of a ripple effect where people have, much like with Half-Life, some people have taken the wrong lessons, especially after the success of A Realm Reborn. Obviously, there was the 1.0 era that felt like it was trying to be Final Fantasy XI 2. I have heard some word about that the reason it launched in the state that it did was because Cataclysm had launched and that caused things to get pushed forward. I don't know if that's actually what happened, but I could see it. Although, as an expansion to WoW, Cataclysm wasn't that great. I mean, yeah, you had the shock moment of just blowing up the world, but once you get sorry about these pads. Once you get past that, there wasn't a whole lot.
I never really got.
They made the big cataclysmic change but forgot to make anything else.
Which was pretty par for the course with WoW at that point.
I don't know anything about World of Warcraft.
I know that there's trolls that say job is done when their job is done.
That's pretty awesome.
Revolutionary.
And there was also the return of work. Except that was a thing going all the way back to the original RTS, so make of that what you will. But with the original 14, there were problems, obviously. The whole energy thing got roasted over an open flame, and I'd say did a lot of the initial damage. And I think part of the reason that was received so poorly, aside from just not reading the room, is the fact that whether you like it or not, and I certainly don't, 11 was very much built for net cafes. That's not a criticism on it, because a lot of MMOs around that time were built more for net cafes than for home PCs. Versus, by the time we get to 14 proper, net cafes were all but dead in like the States.
Also,
and
11 was inherently built to be played on a console as well. In the same netcafes.
Mm-hmm. Net cafes were only barely a thing when I was a kid growing up, and had more or less fallen out of favor when I started to get reliable internet. I know that they maintain themselves more in other communities. And when we get to A Realm Reborn, obviously a lot of that success is attributed to Yoshi P, who if I ever get the chance to meet
I
him...
actually have a lot to say here in terms of 14, as I am both a 1.0 player and someone who had played 14 for the next 7 years following that. I also may or may not have some connection to the dev team.
Oh, I will note before I get on that, if I ever get some chance to meet Yoshi P, I will thank him for validating something that I had said quite a long time ago, when he had remarked that the term JRPG felt exclusionary, which got a lot of people pissed off.
I mean, he's right.
He's right. And I had been saying that
he is.
I had been saying that and more blatant things about the term JRPG for over a decade at that point. So I would want to shake his hand and say thank you for validating something I had been believing for years. But now I remember when that presentation was made about the problems with 1.0. Now, the polygon thing, I have to take their word for it because there's no way I'm getting the actual polygon counts of things there. Because that was one thing that was said, that like a potted plant had as many polygons as a player character.
Oh, this is true. The devs said that straight up.
Yeah. It's just I won't be able to, because I'm not going to be able to get access to the source code ever, I can't independently verify that.
I can clarify and add if you want me to.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the reason initially so bad wasn't because each individual ideas that were presented in the game sucked in any form. That isn't quite why it worked out the way it did. The main thing and the source of all the issues of the 1.0 release was the fact that a lot of the development team was still stuck in the let's work on this the same way we worked on 11. Which turned out essentially to be like a bunch of cliques within the development team who had seemingly no connection to each other. All made some really cool ideas that did not work with each other whatsoever. And then all of that was piled on top of each other and expected to just function.
Like a Bethesda game.
All the while their faulty, outdated tech could not run the game at all.
Yeah, and I can say to a certain point some of that very much tracks because of what I remember reading in that postmortem about Final Fantasy XIII, where up until the demo came out alongside Advent Children Complete, there were a bunch of little fiefdoms all over the place that couldn't quite agree on direction to go with. And thank you.
Because they wanted to craft far too high-quality assets for the workload of an MMO server.
Mhm.
Also, I can confirm.
And it wasn't until that demo that there was a vertical slice for 13. And no worries. Well, stay frosty and have a good day. Thank you for the sub. But with that in mind, I remember when that presentation was done. The vibe I ended up getting was they were trying to make a 11-2, but you had a bunch of cooks in the kitchen. And based on what you said about the different sections that weren't communicating with each other, that kind of thing happened with the development of 13. And those sort of things, according to that postmortem, those sort of things were common, but because of the increased amount of hands that were needed with the shift into HD infrastructures, you essentially had more people in everything, which meant more hands to pass along grapevines. So communication wasn't as fast as it should have been. But
that's part of what Yoshi P mentioned in several talks with both inside and outside sources. But there was a great deal of arrogance and hubris that settled into Square's halls by this point with the Final Fantasy.
Which that kind of thing can definitely happen when you're kind of the to use a term in the financial world, the lead steers. But of course, there was also the fact that I think around that same time they were developing what would become Crystal Tools, but originally was known as the White Engine.
That's also part of why 14 sucked. They pulled far too many people from the team.
And
to work what is even referred to as middleware. Within the company itself.
And for something as complex as an MMO, you really need one person who is the guy. Now, sometimes the guy is not a guy, but any project with that amount of complexity needs somebody who is that leading voice. And obviously, once we get to A Realm Reborn, for as much of a success as The Realm Reborn has been, I feel like a lot of people have misinterpreted that success. Because more than once I have seen folks say, "Oh, FF14 was able to come back. Maybe we can come back too," and kind of ignoring the work that it takes to get to that kind of redemption arc. I remember people coping about Anthem saying that, which if somebody really thought Anthem was going to be able to be saved, then I've got a good deal in the Brooklyn Bridge I can sell you.
All right. In their defense, the moment-to-moment gameplay of Anthem is really good, but everything else about Anthem sucked.
Yeah, it's just I knew there was no saving it simply because of all the outside factors, let alone the internal civil war. But games like FF14 or No Man's Sky had their redemption arcs after a long, lengthy process of eating all of the shit. You know, whether it be public apologies or just putting noses to the grindstone, which has led to things like where, say, No Man's Sky is currently, where its fan base is begging the developers to put out a paid DLC, and they won't do it.
I mean, if their business model is working without needing to come out with DLCs, like should they bother changing their workflow?
It's an amusing...
I remember a period of time in the 14 development right after the release where the team was drafting apology messages more than they were translating the development localization material.
That tracks.
That was quite a story, honestly.
Is it... I had heard, and maybe you can clarify whether or not this happened. I had heard stories that either Yoshi P or a different representative had gone to various spots across the country doing public apologies.
Essentially.
Which...
They had a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Apology sessions.
Which, that being the case, that explains quite a bit. But with that in mind,
it's the cultural Japanese thing. They didn't realize it would not track within the Western audience.
Mm-hmm. With it, when it comes to adapting some adaptation for 14, I had already somewhat dipped into, especially in the Ultimania book, where I had that whole section that's basically my answer to people who say, "What if I just want to play as a black mage, and I don't want to mess around with having 3 jobs?" And that sort of thing was my answer of sorts to that. But when it comes to this particular attempt at adapting, I think the first thing to go into is going to be the job system itself, and specifically the war and magic ends of things. The land and the hand, that is something we'll tackle a bit later, because I do have an item synthesis system, but it's not exactly a 1-to-1. And I know it would be with a lot of the jobs. I know it'd be tempting to just point out the one job that's in Legend Edition and go with that. And no worries, Loon. You stay frosty. let's see. Let's see. Sorry, it's a problem when you end up having to juggle multiple things at once. But now, just curious, just so everyone's on the same page. I believe both of you have read a fair bit when it comes to the core book for Legend Edition.
I read a fair bit of it, yeah.
Did you also read the Ultimania
I have my
guide?
fair share of exposure to it yet.
Yeah, it's not like you did. It's not like you participated in a one shot or anything. But
Wait a minute, I was in a one shot?
yeah,
Oh. Gasp.
but I think the plan that I had was to look at how one might adapt the different jobs from 14 into Legend Edition, and then tackle the closest thing to a recurring group that we have in 14, that being the Scions. But the Scions is going to be tricky because some of them went through significant overhauls during the story.
Which, like, narratively speaking, I do enjoy that. Where they could have just taken the easy answer, just kept them like the same class throughout the MMO's lifespan, but they're like, no, we're gonna be actively changing the characters in ways that make sense for their characters.
So we'll start with the Disciples of War first off, and the first of those is going to be the Paladin. And obviously, Paladin is one of the three jobs that would be apropos. But what would be some of the other jobs that you think would fit? Because remember, every character is a mix of 3 or 4 jobs.
Paladin High.
I'm
Well,
trying to.
following my extensive experience with multi-classing as a whole, I would imagine there should be a basis of a martial-related job.
Let's see.
A magical-related job. And maybe some spiritual thing.
So,
to round it up into a feeling of paladin. Also in the game itself, the paladin takes a role of a sort of shield tank. Their job is to often defend, shield, and buff/heal. If I am not mistaken with my FF14 classes.
Paladin is one of those classes I never messed with, but from what I remember, it's very much like a shield tank where it gives itself its
Paladin
own.
is the only tank who has some form sustained towards others. So definitely support tinge.
So, taking that into account, I'd say one of the 2 other jobs I feel should be Sentinel and White Mage. Now, the White Mage thing is probably going to be fairly obvious, but as tempting as it would be to pick Magic Knight, Oh, the only element you're going to be using as paladin is light, and Magic Knight just didn't quite fit.
Mhm.
And as tempting as it would be to go with Fencer, what's referred to as enmity in the MMO is not far removed from some of the taunt-like effects. I felt Sentinel's taunt I thought would be more apropos than the taunt that Fencer has. Especially since Sentinel is about reducing their attack to boost defense so that they can to lead into their support. And that's the closest thing that we'd have to things like the Oath effect that Paladin has in 14. Though I'd say that the White Mage, if one were to really be hardcore about it, the White Mage part would be one that you can't take healing effects. I.e., you can't take the Cure series or raids.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to go with the hard mode approach. But then there's Monk. Good old Monk. I'm going to be somewhat biased.
No, I wouldn't ever think you'd be biased.
Like how of course it's a monk in a fantasy game. Of course I'm going to be biased, especially if it's one that doesn't suck ass. Looking at you, 3rd edition. Games powered by dumping people and losing time. Damn it, Brianna. But obviously, I have the most amount of background when it comes to the monk because that was my main for the longest time. As odd as this may sound, I have always seen the monk as like playing a deck building game. Not necessarily Slay the Spire per se, but something like, say, Dominion.
I could see that.
You know, it's you're building around the three stance loops in order to expand what you do. Both these stance loops, things like Greased Lightning. I did tighten the loop a little bit by having it that instead of needing to use an action to generate chakra, you just do that by hitting. Although Legend Edition has 7 chakras instead of 5.
It's one of those things where it's like as an MMO, you can only keep track of so many things at any given moment. While for TTRPG, since it's turn-based, it's a bit easier to keep track of some things.
Mm-hmm. Although, given now, obviously, Monk is one of the first ones. But given the whole reprisal effect, I feel like something that maximizes counterattacks would be vital. And this may sound a bit odd, but the other two I'm considering for a monk build are Fencer and Magic Knight.
Not Dervish?
The multi-attacking part is already well covered through Monk's blitzes. Dervish, okay. I feel like doesn't quite fit, since it is more about a combined rotation rather than just hitting a lot. And Fencer is all about trying to get the focus on them and one enemy, and is very, very good at counter punching. And as far as Magic Knight, the main reason for that is the 4 elements effects that are within Monk's kit. It's obviously not a 1-to-1, but it's a close enough.
Yeah.
But still, Monk, Fencer, and Magic Knight, that's still a pretty potent combination, and Maki, you'd know a thing or two about how nasty Magic Knight can be, even at early levels.
Oh, absolutely.
At one point, I had thought of it having it that you have to pick one element and then you get more as you level up. And then I'm like, it's just an elemental shift. Why am I doing that? Screw it. You get every element at the start. Let's really if we're gonna go stupid, let's go full stupid.
Let's let the players have like the main kit get right off the bat instead of like waiting until like level 6 like in some other RPGs.
So with Warrior, Warrior to me, obviously I don't have a Warrior job. I have that as a class. But Warrior always struck me as a natural successor to Berserkers. Not just in the look of the that you have whenever you're using the artifact armor, but also a lot of their kit, especially the fact that one of their big things is Berserk. And eventually the Beast Gauge.
I dropped Berserker right at it, like right as I got the Beast Gauge, because that's when I really started getting into my Mechanist, the Mechanist class. I really enjoyed like the Berserker as a class, because all you do is taunt and deal damage. You don't need to worry about a bunch of other mechanics. It's kind of similar to Samurai in that aspect, where you don't have to think about anything other than just all the DPS.
And I'd say, I think one of the other things is them having. I seem to recall that warriors have the stupid highest amount of HP compared to other tanks.
Do they have a way to mitigate damage other than like the tanking class specific damage mitigation thing. Forget what it's called.
They do have. I think there's a few things that they do have. But it's not like that. It's not like that's going to be the focus for them. The focus is hit hard for the beast gauge, and then spend the beast gauge to hit harder.
Very complex mechanics, much wow.
So, first job is Berserker. I would say second one, probably. I was gonna say Guardian, but I'm not sure if that should be second or third. Actually, in the case of Warrior, I think it should be Guardian. Which, Guardian gets hit, they get soul power. They spend soul power to hit back harder. So, a similar principle.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the second one, I think that should just be Weapon Master. Which is just going to mean they're really, really good with their axes. Then there's Dragoon, the floor tank.
Yeah.
That one was for you, spoiler.
I don't think I've ever seen a Dragoon not get dropped in even the lowest level dungeons.
Yeah, Dragoon is in a weird spot where they are straddling the line between being a DPS and being a tank. And I will admit that the crit fishing system that I have with Blood of the Dragon was heavily inspired by Dragoons in FF14. But I'd say a big reason for the Dragoon's unfortunate reputation is the fact that jump is an AoE thing that can really screw up enmity if used improperly.
Yeah.
And one would think something like that would be used as a way to do to draw aggro, but it's a DPS. DPS aren't supposed to be drawing aggro. That's the job of the tanks. But I'd say for Dragoon, And while I'm at it, let me see how I put it in the book proper. Because within the Ultimania guide, I did put in that. I could have swore I had that alignment fixed, but oh well. So let's see. I can pretty much use the same setup I did before: Dragoon, Weapon Master, and Fencer. I was very tempted to go with Dervish, but Dragoons aren't fast enough for that.
I mean, are we looking at this gameplay-wise or narratively?
A little of column A
Narrative-wise.
and a little of column B.
Okay.
And
Because in a lot of cutscenes and stuff, like a lot of the dragoons that we see are really fast.
mhm.
Like on the point of nearly just like Dragon Ball Z teleporting around the enemy after they punted them across the planet.
Yeah.
So it's like I could see dervishes working, but
And
yeah, if we're leaning more into gameplay wise, of like the 14 gameplay wise, a fencer would actually fit much better.
plus things like Winged Glide and the like, I don't have a direct parallel because, and this is where things are going to get somewhat tricky. A lot of the gameplay kit in 14 is built around positioning. That's not something that's a high priority in Legend Edition. And of course, if you make it about positioning, then you're going to get a bunch of dumbasses saying, it feels too much like a war game, or it feels too much like a board game. I'll get to that in a couple weeks. 'Cause dear Lord, am I sick of that argument in any form it takes. Right up there with the, this feels too much like a video game. I hate that statement on a visceral level. One that I've gone into plenty of times, and I probably will have to keep going into. But then there's Bard, and this is where things get somewhat off kilter, because it would be very tempting to just build around the entertainer job that I have, but let's not forget that Bard is as much a archer as it is a musician, and that has to be taken into account.
Yeah, the starter class for Bard is archer, and then they go into musician later on.
So I'd say entertainer is the obvious one. And also sniping. Also sniper.
Makes sense.
And there is definitely a heavy amount of support, especially with things like Wanderer's Minue. where it's built around its particular stack. And in that regard, you have a case of you're supporting to build up a stack which you're going to be using for certain effects. So, as odd as this may sound at first, I think the third job for Bard should be Squire.
That's an interesting choice.
So, have you seen how Squire works in Legend Edition?
I think I glanced at it once, but I didn't read into it too much.
Squire's main thing is granting buffs in the form of fundaments. The buff that it gives to an ally depends on what class that ally is.
Okay.
And as their capstone, they can take whatever benefits they've given they can give themselves fundaments based on the classes of their allies.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense of why you would pick that up.
Mm-hmm. Like the first set of fundaments you get is you can give a warrior a boon on their next weapon attack roll, a expert a boon on their next skill roll, a mage a +2 bonus to the next casting roll, and an adept can get one of the other three, because adepts are always the middle ground. And you know at first you can only give one ally a fundament. Eventually you can give them more and you get stronger versions. And it's not a case where you're picking one. You give an ally fundament and they get a set of buffs. And eventually that set of buffs can go right to the caster. But I feel that's the best way to do Bard, and that's going to make things interesting when we get to Dancer. But then Ninja. So Ninja has a lot of crowd control effects, and it is kind of hard to do kind of replicate crowd control in this game.
We need something also obligatory stealth.
That is true.
Okay. Obligatory stealth, you say? I got you. I got you. So obviously, Ninja is the first job we're going with. Second is Dervish. You know, given the rapid attack patterns you see with Ninja, I feel Dervish is a natural fit here. The third one, since you mentioned we need something explicitly stealth, Covert Ops. Covert Ops is a fun
Fully
one.
into it.
So, I have half-jokingly called Covert Ops the Turk's job. They are a very spy fiction kind of job. The first things that they get are disguise, where they can declare that they're using a disguise at the start of a scene. You get bonuses to whoever you're trying to impersonate or whatever disguise you're trying to emulate. So long as you don't break your cover. And there are limits to how far the disguise can go. Someone of a significantly different race or physique than you can't disguise yourself as, because it's not, you're not transforming into that appearance. It is the good old putting a wig and a face mask on to look like somebody else or not look like you. But the other big thing.
So we can't have the famous minute, like the centaur pretending to just be a guy always riding his horse around town.
Yes, that would be if the GM allows for it. That's one thing, but otherwise probably not. But the other major thing that they get at the start is Gray Man. When attempting to blend in, anyone who's trying to recognize you must make a skill roll versus your larceny defense. On a success, they recognize you. If you're disguised, the boons you would gain from that disguise become banes to their skill roll. And disguise grants you a number of boons equal to your mind modifier. But a lot of the covert ops abilities are about being the face in the crowd, where they are there, but nobody notices them. And in some forms, they can't even be targeted.
It's kind of like the what is it? Like the Jason Bourne. You see him in the crowd one moment, and the next moment he just disappears.
Pretty much. And in fact, I am proud of the fact that one of the covert ops abilities, under 30 seconds, is heavily inspired by the 30-second rule that field agents are supposed to follow, i.e., you're expected to be able to put on or put off a disguise in less than 30 seconds.
I never known about that.
Which is why disguises aren't going to be that elaborate. You know, a wig here, some makeup there, and that's it. Something where you could go into like a porta potty and move stuff around so that you don't look exactly like you did.
Okay.
It is, as an aside, it is a bit amusing that the storyline with the rogue is basically pirates.
Yeah. Yeah, just being a pirate the entire time. And then it's like, surprise, you're a ninja now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there is a reason for it. It's just amusing that we go that. In my childhood, there was always the dumbass pirate versus ninja debate, and here we have pirates and ninjas at the same time.
You have the pirate turning into a ninja.
Mm-hmm. But then, when it comes to Dark Knight. And remember, Frey is totally real. But I do love the fact that Frey was never there. The Frey who was teaching you how to become a Dark Knight was never there the whole time.
That would make a pretty interesting like warlock patron idea, where it's actually like a previous wielder of the sword, of like your cursed sword that you're with, that teaches you how to use it.
Mm-hmm. I'd liken it to Reznov in Black Ops. Somebody who the whole time you're like, oh yeah, this is my buddy Reznov. Oh, he's gonna be helping us out. And the whole time he was not only not there, but everybody else more or less knew it, and the clues were very much in your face. I am somewhat spoiling when it comes to Black Ops, but statutes passed. Plus,
No, I was totally going to play the nearly 30-year-old game tomorrow.
plus voiced by Gary Oldman, so how can I say no to that?
True.
But when it comes to Dark Knight, and hang on a sec. Oh, I don't recall where, but I remember seeing something about Dark Knight being a very good anti-magic. Which I'd never quite saw.
Yeah, it's like I'm having a hard time imagining that myself.
Mm-hmm. Though, obviously,
There's a whole subject of not protecting yourself from death but going after that.
So, are you saying Dark Knight is Captain Crash Out?
I mean, some of the Dark Knights I've played with, that
Yes.
would in fact be true.
But if that is the case, I think if I recall the approach, the primary approach is grit to generate aggro, and blood weapons so that your attacks drain, so that you're healing just as much as you're getting hit.
A vampire tank.
Which, if that is the case,
Health drain from enemies could probably be a fun mechanic if possible.
I don't have draining as something that's directly tied to jobs. That's usually something that's tied to magic items or the like. But there are ways to get close. And obviously, you already do have a bit of a crash out because of how Soul Eater works in Legend Edition. but I'd say, uh, this might be a bit of a stretch, but Rune Knight is as one of the jobs.
I can see that.
Yeah. The big thing with Rune Knight is any MP they have is temporary. But whenever somebody tries to do any sort of casting effect, they can, once per round, they can cancel it out and get the MP that they would have spent. They can't keep it, but they have it. And while also might be a bit of a stretch, but perhaps Knight as well. Now, the reason I say Knight is the break abilities that Knight have cap die rolls that opponents have with that debuff. For example, if the target has casting break, then the highest they can roll on a casting roll is at first 18, then down to 15, then down to 12 as you develop. Or if you use the Knight's limit break, down to 9. That means if they roll a not in the case of the limit break, a 10 on the casting roll and they're affected by break, then it just becomes a 9. Anything higher than the cap just becomes the cap. No rerolls or anything like that. And eventually they can spend those break arcs to do stronger effects. Which I think that might fit the motif of the Dark Knight as this dread warrior that is more about breaking you as much as killing you.
Yeah, that would be really good for the theme of it. Yeah, it took me a minute to wrap my head around it.
Actually, I take back Knight because there's a better option.
Oh,
Arcanist. Arcanist is all about incubating a curse within themselves, then transferring that curse to whoever hits them.
Oh, that is just the Dark Knight.
Those curses are debuffs where they can flip die rolls that their enemies make. Then, well, it's going to be one of your boys, a machinist.
No, just asshole with the gun. Best archetype of any fantasy setting.
I always find it funny when people are so averse to firearms in fantasy settings. Even if there's a good in-universe reason for them, some people are really, really, really against the idea of someone using a gun.
I think it's just like it ruins. I think firearms like ruin the aesthetic, and it's like, oh, like why would somebody learn to cast fireball when they can just cast cannon or grenade?
Because you don't have to carry a cannon
That is true.
when you have a fireball.
Hello, Joe.
Hello, everyone.
Oh. So if they're talking about a fantasy that leans into a particular medieval era, I might be willing to buy that. But even if someone wants to go more steampunk, they're like, no, you shouldn't be using firearms in that. I'm like, why?
It's steampunk. It's Victorian. At that point, they would be used. Like firearms would be there. Firearms would be a thing.
Yeah, flintlocks, some weird Magitech gun thing that fires lightning bolts. I don't know. Like
So
when I
pretty much
think
the Mechanist.
steampunk, I think mad science.
Mm-hmm. But I look at it as a term that I've used plenty of times on this channel, designed by gospel. We do things this way because we've always done things this way. We've always done things this way because this is the way we do things. And if that sounds circular, that's because it is. But
I don't know. I could never come around to circular thinking.
ha!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But as
I
far
regret joining the call at this point in time.
Hey there, Monarch.
I sit in the corner, but it's a round room.
No, let's not go to Camelot. It is a silly place.
How about Spamalot?
Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, and it was in the wrong size.
Ah, dang it.
I mean, you know, it's always great when you get a free T-shirt and they use a not normal sizing for their size. So it's like, oh yeah, I'll get the large or extra large. And it's like, oh, this thing is either literally a tent or now it's just like a crop top.
You know, I'd rather get one that's literally a tent, because at least I can, like, have a good friend of mine kind of, like, sew it into the right size or something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or
And
use it as a tent.
Or use it as a tent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maki.
there was a story once of a man who went to a psychiatrist and said, one night I dream I'm a wigwam, the next night I dream I'm a teepee. His psychiatrist looks at him and says, you're too tense.
You know,
Very good.
I think I found that entire joke to be intense.
I'd say 7.5 out of 10, according to Randy. Which I would make a joke about Randy Pitchford, but if you've seen the way he dresses these days, is there any sport to making fun of him now?
This is true.
I don't think Randy shouldn't be pitching anything.
Considering we're talking about tents, yeah, hopefully not.
Imagine if he decided to get into a pitching contest with Randy Johnson. You know, the guy who
battle would be legendary.
the guy
That
who
would
gave
be Randy for me.
yeah the guy who gave a caused a pigeon to regret its life choices.
You know,
I mean,
that
hey,
almost
the
reminds-
pigeon didn't regret its life choices for very long.
No,
that-
it was given a very valuable lesson in trespassing, a lesson it will remember for the rest of its life.
I am reminded of I can't remember his name, but he was this Fabio actor who did a lot of hair commercials. He rode a roller coaster and basically killed a duck with his face.
Happens more often than you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some people suspected foul play, but I don't know.
Ha! But
I regret nothing.
let's see. So, with Machinist, obviously Engineer is a primary one because of their helicopter buddy.
Yep.
It does. I think it gets upgraded to a like a robot later on.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which that kind of upgrade, Legend Edition isn't all that concerned with.
Sniper as well because of all the range damage stuff.
I don't see Sniper so much as I see Dynamo.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
And the main reason I say Dynamo is because of all the trick shooting.
You're not wrong.
Although you can do melee in either of those classes, but
they're less about the careful shooting and more about the repeated trick shots.
Mm-hmm.
As well as upgrading their attack. But wait, do they still do that? They don't have an ammo system anymore, do they?
I don't think so.
It's been ages since I touched a Machinist.
I think now it's just a bunch of gauges, and then it's the shield. Was it Gunbreaker? Is the one with ammo?
Mm-hmm. But a lot of the stuff I see out of them is trick shotting and having their turrets on support. Which the turret support thing that's already going to be handled through Engineer. Dynamo is all about hitting and trying not to get hit. And as tempting as it would be to use something that has overheats, I don't really. The closest I have to that is Gunbreaker, and I'm not keen on giving Machinist Gunbreaker, especially since Gunbreaker is melee focused.
Yeah, the Machinist is a ranged class that has a handful of close range things, like their flamethrower.
Yep. Hans, get the Flammenwerfer. The heavy Flammenwerfer.
And then they get their poison flamethrower, so they get that extra dot on top of the.
I just realized there's a perfect answer. Fighter.
Oh.
You know? I see it. I see it.
That's so simple. But it's so
because
real.
it's so simple we didn't see it.
It's peak engineering mantra of keep it simple, stupid.
Mm-hmm. Because remember, Fighter is the walking arsenal. And you look at what you have with Engineer. You have a flamethrower. You have an auto crossbow. You have a poison flamethrower. You have the different turrets. You have different types of ammo for guns.
True. That's an arsenal, yeah.
I have jokingly once said that Machinist is the job for people who were really big fans of Ratchet and Clank.
I mean, fair.
I can see that.
I never played Ratchet and Clank, unfortunately.
Or if they were really big fans of the multi-gun in Jak 2 and 3.
I'm just a big fan of this one webcomic, Girl Genius. Lots of mad science.
Yeah, I'm mostly familiar of Girl Genius through the video games, but I see it. Let's see. As far as Samurai, I will admit the way I have designed Samurai in Legend Edition was inspired more by 14 than 11, because the 11 version of Samurai is built around the tech point system, and I don't have that.
I will not make the joke I always make whenever I hear about tech points.
And yeah, with Samurai, they have the 3 parts of Sen, as well as the Kenki gauge. All that I really did was just merge the 2 of them. Sen was a builder spender for specific effects, and Kenki was again building and spending on Hisatsu abilities.
Or no Hisatsu Waza, Pot 2.
Yeah. And all that I opted to do was just combine them into a certain loop. The 3 Sens are stances, which determine how you generate Kenki. Kenki is spent on Hisatsu.
I don't know.
And
Translation. You slowly stab enemy until you get cool enough from stabbing, so you stab real good.
Oh yeah, like Samurai's the aura farming DPS.
I remember having an internal debate about whether or not Samurai should have been tank or DPS. Honestly, I'm fine with it being DPS.
You know, a lot of people had that same remark when Samurai was first released.
But as far as the other 2, I would say Sword Saint is a must.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't not have Sword Saint for a samurai here.
Yeah. And I would also say Weapon Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to recommend that one.
Weapon Master is going to show up a lot, but that's because it's kind of the go-to of I'm using this one particular thing really well. And when it comes to Gunbreaker, here's where we have some interesting approaches.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker is a tank, but if one looked at its attack animations, you'd think, wait, that's a tank, because a lot of their fighting style wouldn't be too far removed from a character action game.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
But obviously, Gunbreaker is one of the jobs to go with. And when I look at some of the other ones, it would be tempting to go with Sentinel, but I'm not quite sure about that.
Paladin?
No.
No.
No, I honestly think it should be Guardian.
There we go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Guardian and Dervish.
Guardian is better.
Guardian is better. And Dervish does make sense.
Especially since when
In
you
an
look
odd
at
way.
the way Gunbreaker ends up fighting, they're not really about hitting hard as much as they are about hitting a lot.
Mostly because hitting a lot is how they keep up their aggro.
Hmm.
Because they're not about dealing the damage, they're more about like taunting the enemies and going, "Hey, look at me, stupid."
Hmm. So as far as Dancer, this would also have Entertainer.
Entertainer, Dervish. Trying to think of how the support skills would come into play, though. Like Entertainer kind of brings that to the table, so
I guess it just depends. Are we wanting like the theme of the character of the class, or do we want the actual mechanics?
I'm trying
Yes,
to
sir?
go for a middle ground in a Venn diagram with it.
Okay.
yeah. Because that's why I immediately went with Dervish, because they are doing the dual wielding, repeatedly hitting with their chakrams. Maybe. I mean, they are kind of trick shots, so I kind of want to say the Dynamo, but I don't know.
I think based on what I'm seeing, especially with the way steps work,
Mm-hmm.
Monk.
Yeah. Your monk is definitely something that I can see working in that, actually.
But then there's Reaper. Don't fear him.
But I wanna.
I mean, he's so edgy between him and
Dark Knight.
yeah, they're like the two edgiest classes in the whole MMO.
So I would say Dark Knight. Actually, no, Dark Knight isn't the right one to go with, especially given the whole being a medium for their void scent through things like Enshroud.
Mm-hmm.
I think instead it might be better to go with one of the yokai.
That could work.
Specifically Diablos.
Yeah.
You know, the actual devil from the Bible.
Oh. And since Diablos is kind of the shadow damage representative, that would certainly work. I'd also throw in Necromancer. I mean, I kind of
wrong.
hinted at this in the book about how one could reflavor the Bone Commander to be something like the Void Scent avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole getting more powerful through the removal of enemies.
Okay.
Because
So we have yokai, we have necromancer.
Because at second circle, Necromancer gets Retribution, where when their Bone Commander is disabled, whoever attacks it takes shadow damage. At third circle, whenever they inflict shadow damage via a weapon attack, or feature, or spell, they gain temp HP. In fourth circle, they get Corrupted Essence, where when an opponent would restore HP via an effect, they have to do an attack roll against them, against the Necromancer. If they fail, they suffer Battered, meaning they can't restore HP for a round. Which is a very good way to screw over enemy healers.
True.
Oh.
Very true.
Mm-mm.
Well, batter up my biscuit that /s quite fun.
Also, I did have a bit of fun with the naming conventions because Necromancer's limit break is called Friends on the Other Side. But
Hilarious.
I would say the third
really
job
enjoyed
should
it.
be Knight. Now, for the same reason, I was at first considering Knight for Dark Knight. The break abilities and just being about slowly breaking the enemy.
You know, I'm not angry about it. I like it.
But then Viper, one of the two jobs from Dawn Trail, and both of them I was asked about putting them in as jobs. I chose not to because everything within Viper could be handled elsewhere.
Like Dervish.
Yeah, Dervish is the obvious one.
Dervish and Weapon Master.
Yeah. And I kind of... I don't know if I'm looking at Dynamo again or not. It feels right, but...
Dynamo's more ranged, though, right? I haven't gotten to the point.
With the exception of Gunbreaker, none of the jobs are really about melee or range specifically, or about a specific weapon.
Okay.
Due to the way weapons are built on tags, that'd be kind of redundant.
Here.
And a big reason I did that tag-based design is I knew that there would be some unorthodox weapons that would be brought up if I went with a traditional weapon list.
I'll have you know, my weapon is very orthodox. I got it from the Orthodox sect, after all.
I don't know what's better, the joke or how Monk reacted to it.
Both.
Fair.
Though
The sigh.
If Monk really hated it, they can ask me to stop.
Mm-mm. But when I was gonna bring up the poison effects through different venoms, but all that does is just increase the potency of certain attacks.
So
Yeah,
it's
they
not-
don't really have a...
It's not like a damage over time. It's
No.
more of a, I put this state on the enemy, therefore this attack will hit harder.
Yeah, it's a damage enhancer as opposed to a dot.
So I'd say the third one should probably be Fencer.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Because they are going to be far more focused on fuck that guy in particular. But when it comes to the this, when it comes to the disciplines of magic, you know, the first one we have is White Mage, which it is funny that White Mage feels far more Druid-esque in 14 than it has in the past.
Yeah, they talk to the elemental spirits after all.
Mm-hmm. So, and while White Mage in 14 does have access to some offensive effects like stone, that's not enough for me to give it black. That's not enough for me to give it Black Mage.
Nope.
So I'd say White Mage, Medic, and Spirit Master.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
And
Spirit Master in particular is nice and thematic.
Yeah, and if you listen very, very closely, you can hear Sig seething in the back.
Good. I mean, what?
But why? Spirit Master's so cool.
He's still mad about me using it to completely ruin the B-bag of that one shot I was in.
Oh yes, I remember the story.
Joe, Maki, are you familiar as to why Spirit Master can cause nuclear levels of salt?
Actually, no. Please, do enlighten me.
One of their first circle abilities is Spiritism. Spiritism is not a buff or a debuff. It's a buff or debuff mover. It doesn't add or it doesn't add to duration or decrease it. It just moves who has it. You can move one buff or debuff from one ally or enemy to another ally or enemy. So,
I can see. I see where the salt comes from now.
Mm-hmm. His B-bag was going to put the enemy on the back foot put us on the back foot by using Paralyze. And then I was like, you're the only enemy there, so you're getting paralyzed. I mean, it wasn't a permanent paralysis, obviously.
But it was enough.
Mm-hmm. So, Black Mage. Obviously, Black Mage is the first job to go with.
Ravager?
I was gonna go White Mage, but the Black Mage is a much better.
Yeah. I see the point.
Mm-hmm.
How about Ravager?
I could go with Ravager. They are going to be a bit spell spam.
Because their entire thing is mana management. Because, nuke them with fire, hit them with, then swap the ice to regain your mana faster.
Yep. Now, I believe we have that with Scholar, but I'm not keen on giving them Scholar.
Okay.
And in fact, I believe Black Mage already has a... Black Mage does eventually get a bit of stance dancing when it comes to magic through careful and reckless casting. Careful casting has it that you spend one round preparing the spell and get a +10 bonus to the casting roll. And reckless casting has it that when you declare it, you can get yourself a +10 right out the gate, but you don't get the benefits of overrun
Mm.
if you fail the roll. That means if you try and cast it and you still botch, you can't use the roll to try again. Hence, you know, it being reckless casting. But as far as the third entry for Black Mage, let's see here. I think there might be. Let's go. I am very, very tempted to go with Magic Knight.
Huh.
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it too now.
Now I know one might go, but they're not going to be swinging a sword around. No, but they are going to be. But all that it's doing is they're really good at casting. They're really good at casting a lot, and Magic Knight just is going to make it so that they are still casting while doing weapon attacks.
Hey, what? Just nothing but casting magic.
So
Just nothing but magic.
Yo, dog, I heard you like spells, so we put spells in your spells so you can cast what you cast.
No, the Yo-Dog is Red Mage.
True. Very true.
So then Summoner. So Summoner is obvious.
That's right. It's so obvious that I'm going to say it's going to be Keyblade Master.
No. I can't see it, but now I can't unsee it now.
So, because of the different ruin spells that Summoner has, I know it would be tempting to go with Black Mage, but given how it's talking about attunement, how would you feel about me throwing in Geomancer?
You know, it can work. Lore-wise, thematically.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
And I would say when it comes to a lot of the builder spender, I'm very specific about builder spender effects, so some of that isn't going to carry over. But what I think can carry over especially actually, you know what? Summoner, Black Mage, Geomancer.
Ended up going back to Black Mage. Yeah, I can see that.
Because this is very much about dancing around with elements.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't.
I'm nuking them so they glow.
Yeah. So Scholar. Oh. AKA the, for the longest time, the healer job for lazy people.
I miss those days.
Listen, I pay my fairy to heal everyone for me. I just want to debuff and poison the enemy. Is that so wrong?
It's pretty much that trend that was around before COVID, where people would go hire other software engineers to do their work.
But I'd say Summoner once again.
Sounds good. Spirit Master?
Yeah.
And White Mage.
Not White Mage. Medic.
Medic? Yeah. It was gonna be one or the other.
That does mean...
Medic.
Remember, the enemy cannot press a button if you disable his hand.
That is true. And then, since he's a medic, he's able to put Uber on the tank. It took you a minute.
Then Astrologian, which I remember finding out that early on, Astrologian was supposed... They were planning on doing Geomancer, but they couldn't find a way to make it work. I think Geomancer in 14's kit can work, but it's going to require reevaluating Geomancer.
I mean, to be fair, Geomancers are part of their lore and in their job lore. Job quest? Storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, utilizing Geomancer here would not be a bad idea.
Yep. I'd say...
Gambler?
Yeah, I can go with Gambler. There's definitely a heavy Gamba in them, especially since they have a hand of cards generated by a set of D12
It does
rolls.
induce RNG cards.
Mm-hmm.
And Medic, because they are healers.
Yep, I can go...
Alternatively,
Not untrue yet.
Alternatively, if not Medic...
Cosmic Mage?
Yeah. Because that is their entire kit.
Mm-hmm.
Is stars and cards.
I mean, it is all about the stars too.
Yep.
Yeah, stars and cards.
Oh, my
I mean,
stars and garters.
Astro. Stars, cards, and horseshoes. Clovers and blue moons, in any case.
Yep.
They pray to the stars, so get their gotcha wife.
You know, this
It's
whole
just-
class reminds me of my ex.
It's just a pity poll. What are you talking about?
Listen, I main Astrologian for the longest time. Leave me alone.
I hold these truths to be self-evident that all are cremated equal.
But also, I really loved old Astro. Like, a lot of people complained about the random pull for the buff card and how people kept on forgetting what the cards did. And I'm like, skill issue. These are great. What are you on about?
Mm-hmm. So, go ahead.
It's like in an MMO, you don't you shouldn't have to have that much level of RNG. Some RNG is nice, but for moment to moment gameplay, having like an entire combo be make or break based upon how good you are at opening card packs.
Like, they gave you something to do with dead draws, though. Like, you could either Royal Road it, or you can, like, sacrifice it to do other things. Like,
I am an
there was-
old blood UGIO player. I love RNG and deck work.
tell me about it. See?
Maki,
gets me.
you probably would have either loved or hated some of my old decks, which I still have. Specifically, two of them that I've used to great effect and annoyance to some. One of them was a Gravekeeper deck that I called the Drunken Gravekeeper because fighting against it was like drunken boxing because it was very hard to tell
Gravekeeper is based.
what angle it would hit you.
player.
The other one was a beatdown deck called Dead in 17 Seconds because I won a tournament final in 17 seconds.
Wow. What was it?
It was just a local thing at my LGS.
No,
But-
what was the deck?
The ace card of the deck was Great Maju Garzet. It had a lot of cheap 4-level ones that had like 1900 attack and no defense, and got abused with things like final attack orders. Stuff like Spear Dragon, Mad Dog of Darkness, Archfiend Soldier. You know, those ones that
that sounds about right.
are cheap, high attackers that have no defense. So I would just keep throwing those out and keep hitting people while they're trying to set up their plays. And
That sounds right.
Just DPS them until they just either die or have to respond.
it was pretty much a blitz.
Yep. It was a rush down.
Mm-hmm. Hence, dead in 17 seconds.
Fair enough.
I wasn't even the one who kept the stopwatch. Somebody else did that because they were looking at it going, I know how this is going to go and it's going to be funny. But
One of my favorite decks was a Chaos Necromancer deck.
mhm. But when
Feed
it comes
creatures into my graveyard and play.
But when it comes to Red Mage, it would be very, very tempting to pick Fencer for Red Mage, but no, I don't think having having a fencing weapon is enough to make it count.
Magic Knight?
See, Magic Knight I can see, because at the end of the day they are a stance dancer, and have to
Magic
balance.
Magic Knight, Ravager, because they're all about the casting spells repeatedly, like over and over again to great effect. What's the third?
Well, that's three of them: Red Mage, Magic Knight, Ravager.
Oh, right, obviously. I'm awake.
But I've seen some people say Fencer just because of their swords. And yeah, the rapier is nice, and it certainly is the classic bit for them. But I'm not convinced the sword itself is enough.
Fair enough.
And when it comes to
It's not on the weapon, but how they wield it.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Plus, as I've mentioned, the jobs in Legend Edition aren't really all that concerned with individual weapons, or at least the specificity of weapons. And when it comes to Blue Mage, I know there's been
Blue Mages into stance dancers.
Yep.
I'm not that angry about it because it means they can fit any kind of slot that they need to. It's just I really wish I could take them into actual proper dungeon queues.
Yeah.
I can see it, and but at the same time, I'm also well aware that because of how specific FF14 is on its role system, Blue Mage and even to a certain extent Red Mage are going to be tricky to fit.
Well, Red Mage isn't that tricky. It's a magic DPS that can also heal and res.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as.
Yeah. Blue Mage, I will state, Blue Magic was the hardest one to design for when I was writing Legend Edition.
Understandable.
But I'd say Blue Mage. I think we can also go with, because of the stance dancing, we can go with Scholar.
Yeah.
And
Scholar work.
Probably give them black and white magic through Scholar. And
trying to think of a third.
Sage.
Red Mage?
Say again?
Sage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just go full whole hog into Gamba. Because you never know what you're gonna get out of Sage. And then Pictomancer, which
Red Mage.
you think Pictomancer would go with Red Mage?
The way that I've always seen it in Final Fantasy XIV, Pictomancer is Red Mage with an art degree.
Right, I'd say Red Mage, Summoner.
Yeah. Illusionist.
A very casty job, for certain.
I mean, it is.
But... And... I was, when it came to Pictomancer, I was asked, when Dawn Trail first got announced, I was asked if I would put Pictomancer in Legend Edition. And it's one of those cases where you've got stuff that either doesn't quite fit how I do things, or I've already got it accounted for elsewhere. And the fact that it temporarily brings along its buddies for its effects, I'm like, that's Summoner. A lot of its effects are elemental focus, so that's where you can have black or white mage, and thus red mage here. It is doing a lot of stance dancing, which red mage is going to be doing. What makes you go with illusionist? I think I can see the vision, but I'd like to get your take, Joe.
Mostly due to the visual representation. Like, in this case, I'm mostly going for the flavor and not for the mechanics.
It does open up some mechanic opportunities.
It does.
Because we brought up Yu-Gi-Oh! Earlier. Illusionist can be summed up as, you activated my trap spell.
But a lot of what Illusionist brings to the table tends to be what Pictomancer does, in all honesty.
Now, when it comes to the disciples of Land and Hand, as tempting as it would be to have to do them as job equivalents, there isn't going to be much for them on that front. What I'd like to do instead is which of the which of the Art of Synthesis feats would best fit them? Because a lot of the item creation systems that I do have is tied into the Art of Creation feat, or the Art of Synthesis feat, that's in the advanced rules. Art of Synthesis is an equipment feat that has 5 different subtypes. When you take the feat, you get one of those subtypes. And those subtypes are Alchemy, Battlecraft, Cuisine, Ritualism, and Tinkering.
Okay.
So,
what constitutes tinkering?
Tinkering...
Just machines?
Hmm?
Just machines and stuff?
So tinkering can be things like traps or martial manuals or ammunition or explosives.
Okay. Okay.
Martial manuals are a way to do a kind of multi-classing setup. But it's more of being able to dip into some of the sub-abilities that some jobs have. Like, for example, one of them is Orin's School of Hisatsu Arts. In order to make that, you need to have the samurai job. You pick one Hisatsu technique. The ally who has the scroll can use that technique a number of times equal to the essence tier used. So 1 to 4 times they can use that technique. It's basically a way... Martial manuals are a way to give certain job features to your allies. It's just on a limited basis. Since you can only make a martial manual during downtime, you need to have the associated job in order to make it. And the manual has to be in your ally's inventory.
Okay. So basically, like one-off spell items.
Pretty much.
But with job abilities. Got it.
Mm-hmm. So, getting back to the disciplines of the land. Let's see, what can be... Let's start with Carpenter. Although when I see that saw, I'm like...
Did
wait.
you say land or hand?
We're starting with hand. Starting with Carpenter.
Okay. So a lot of that is woodworking, mostly making furniture, but also making specific wooden weapons and very rarely a couple of accessories or armor. So I guess that would mostly be like whatever weaponsmithing craft there is for synthesis.
That'd be Battlecraft.
Battlecraft. That.
Blacksmith. You cut out.
Joe.
Sorry, my internet. Same deal. Battlecraft again.
Alright. Alright. I'm guessing same thing would be for armorer.
I'd say so.
So goldsmith, that's where this is where things are going to get interesting.
Goldsmith, I would say tinkerer. And I
Alright,
say that because Goldsmith, even though it focuses on accessories, also does a lot of like little mechanical things like gears and other such things to make mammoths. So it feels like it would fall well under tinkerer.
leather worker.
I'm still gonna say battlecraft. So if anybody else has a better idea, I
No, I can't
don't
think
want to
of
like.
nothing.
Got it.
Weaver.
Technically battlecraft? Because it's mostly making like robes and clothes, usually for mages, but also for like glam gear, you know?
Yep. Alchemist.
If only you had a synthesis that focused on alchemy.
Drugs? We're
Oh,
gonna be Walter Whiting this shit.
yep. And I'm not even going to ask for culinarian because I already know the answer.
Like a lot of these are pretty straightforward. The only one that was like kind of like a little out of left field was Goldsmith. Though I really love Goldsmith's fit. Like Goldsmith and Alchemist really have unique and interesting outfits.
So with the three disciples of the land, the truth be told, since these are about gathering the resources, I don't think any of these would really fit as far as the synthesis arts, because all of them are going to fit the orienteering check that you're using when you're doing this sort of thing.
One thing that's hilarious about the hand and the land jobs is even though they don't have any attack skills, they still have auto attack animations, and all of their poses are basically paladin / gladiator. Not gladiator. Is gladiator the swordsman one, which paladin comes from?
That's gladiator.
Okay, I was right.
It might just be it's like they made the system presuming the classes would have some sort of auto attack, so they're like, "Hey, we have to fill this."
I think a large part of it is because gladiator and paladin are the only ones that have an offhand system, aside from mages, but still, like,
yeah.
So, like, all of their attack animations and stuff like that are based off of those because they have an offhand. So we rarely get to see it.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to the allies, some of which being the Scion, some of which being adjacent, I think there is enough there that we can build around a aggregate of them, even though they do change their approach significantly. But like from A Realm Reborn to Endwalker, a lot of them end up getting a whole new class change.
I mean, for a lot of those characters, like they're like, I guess spoilers, like they're in the other world for a long ass time, so it does make sense that they just completely change.
But let's start with Alphanal.
Summoner.
So let me.
part of me wants to say noble.
So let me see something first. Alright, that's how I wrote it. Class is mage for certain.
Yes.
Let's see. As far as jobs go,
Summoner.
let's see. Started as Arcanist, then gained academic, and then sage. So I'd say yeah. Summoner is definitely one of them.
Because he has the rare colored carbuncle. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Also Somanot.
Yeah, Somanot, because eventually he does become sage.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the third one, yeah, noble would be fine.
Yeah. I'm
Oh.
glad he got taken down a peg. I'm just sorry it killed so many story characters.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Then Ishtola. Oh, this will be an interesting one.
Black Mage.
Yeah.
So
either Sage or Spirit Master, but I don't think she gets both.
let's see. They gave her an all-rounder class called the Archon,
Yeah.
which, and then later on Sorceress. So I'd say White Mage, Black Mage, and Spirit Master.
You know, yeah, she did start off as a White Mage, didn't she? I keep on forgetting about that ever since her transformation.
Mm-hmm. And she had a very interesting setup in the city of NT of being an offensive White Mage. But
That is actually a pretty interesting setup.
which it can be done. I've seen it done. Hell, I did it to a point with the free gens I did for the Untold Destiny crew.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But let's see. Hien.
Samurai.
Yep. That one is kind of obvious. Would you give him noble
General?
as well? General I can go with.
Yeah, not noble. General, definitely.
And I'd say as far as the third one, I'm very tempted to go Sword Saint.
Yeah, no, that worked. That worked. He's no TG Sid, but he definitely knows his way around a blade.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But then Thancred.
Oh, Thancred.
For his early
he
appearance,
eventually-
Thief.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then he becomes a gunblade.
mhm. Yeah, so I'd say Thief. The third one is Gunbreaker.
Gunbreaker, yeah.
And as far as the second one, since he shifts around between being
Them changing jobs across the story is kind of charming, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it would have been easier from them just to keep the characters the way they are. But throughout the story, they're like, no, let's just have them keep jumping around between classes.
I look at the supporting cast that you have in, say, World of Warcraft, and how a lot of them have maintained the exact same class for the longest time, even if for story reasons it looked like they might naturally shift.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, World of Warcraft also took someone who was a popular character and made them the most hated character.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a part of me feels like they did that on purpose.
Are you familiar with Hanlon's Razor?
Nope.
Never presume someone's doing something out of malice if it's just them being stupid.
Yes.
Oh.
But since the Archon role that he has, as far as the duty support system, can be either Gladiator or Rogue.
Fighter?
Oh.
Gladiator?
I would.
Yeah, I want to say fighter, considering it's kind of like catch-all frontliner.
Pretty much.
But he's also a spy master, so.
A spy master, but I don't. But whenever he tries to do a disguise, it is so blatantly obvious it's him.
Just a bit.
I mean, not everybody knows who everybody is.
Not everyone gets like a echo headache and goes, "Oh, that's who you are."
That is true.
It's only all the people that are thematically important that he's trying to hide from, obviously.
Absolutely.
As tempting as it would be to bring up the Warriors of Darkness, I don't think I will. So, like, Brandon and Lamet are going to be off the list.
Yeah. And no aardvark.
Mostly because I feel like those characters would work better as a kind of rival party to the PCs in a campaign. But then we have Estinian. I always screw it up, and I don't know why. Oh. So, class is certainly warrior. Dragoon, I'd say weapon master as well.
Yeah.
And as far as the third one, especially because of that whole thing with the eye,
Yokai?
Yokai of Bahamut.
Yeah, sounds right.
I mean, in his case, it's his association is with Nidhogg and not Bahamut, but I'm not making a whole individual yokai just for Nidhogg. As tempting as it would be as somebody who loves reading Norse mythology, no.
But that would be funny.
It is very, very tempting to use the G Warrior using the mech rules that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the G Warrior only gets used once. But although I did laugh when the upgraded version is called G Savior. You know, the one live action Gundam nobody wants to talk about.
It's like I tried my best to not be reminded of its existence.
But screw it up. Let me open up the Ultimania guide. Actually, I don't need to because I'm pretty sure I have that on the wiki.
I think you do.
So let's see. Oh, we do have it. It's just not in the advanced rules. Let me. Let me see something because I'm concerned with that. Oh, it's not. It is not in the wiki. My bad.
Oh my gosh, you were wrong.
I am woefully disappointed, and that this day is ruined.
Okay. So mecha have a rating. This is usually could be considered a size category, but it is basically determining the upgrade budget that it has. It goes from 2 to 10. And given the size of the G Warrior, what category between 2 is an exosuit, like the Magitech Reaper. 4 would be something like the Magitech Vanguards. 6 would be things like the Cruise Chaser / Ark. 8 would be the Proudclad, and 10 would be the Giant of Babel. So as far as a size category, what do you suppose would be an equivalent for the G-Warrior?
Huh. I'm trying to remember how big that thing was.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
It's supposed to be obviously
That's what she said.
obviously it's a nod to Grandpa Gundam. So it'd probably be about the size of the old RX-78.
So an 8, maybe?
I think an 8 might be too much. That's the Proudclad. You know, the thing that was Scarlet's last little FU in 7.
So a 6, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say a 6.
Fair enough.
And as far as so that means that you essentially have 6 points of upgrades. And I'd say as far as the modules, I think the ones that we can go with are flight thrusters, so it always has float. And you were doing an airborne battle in the thing.
True enough.
Let's see. Overboost protocol, where at the start of a round you can decrease the mech rating by 1. If you do, you can only use melee or ranged weapon systems until your next turn and can't use reactions. Shielding system, so you can apply 3 armor tags to the mech.
That's nice.
And support options, so you can take one weapon system and turn it into a end of round attack. The target is at random. So if you're thinking of funnels, that's how you do funnels.
Fair enough.
As far as the armor tags, let me go into equipment and armor. So let's see. Let's say since you're fighting weapons, let's go with Defiant Construct. I think you can also go with Flexible and Thick. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4 modules. I think the remaining 2 can just be put into 2 points in armor.
Yeah, all of that sounds good.
Mhm.
Admittedly, I'm not very familiar with the system for building a mecha in Legend Edition.
I'm skimming through it right now. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong book.
I built the mech system after I realized I could repurpose the airship system I had built to work with it.
Fair enough.
Let's see. Let's see, as far as weapons, the Aether Saber is a obvious one, which is certainly going to be its melee weapon. Okay, there we are. Aether Mine, Auto Restoration is already accounted for, Aether Saber is already accounted for, and Ultima Buster. So just 2 variations on each, and there you have 6 weapons for that thing. But then, as far as characters, we have the other half of the Elven twins, Alice.
She was a summoner early on too, right?
She was an Arcanist, then shifted over to Red Mage, and by the time we get to Endwalker, stays at Red Mage.
So definitely Red Mage.
So Red Mage and
Ravager?
I'd say, yeah, Red Mage, Summoner, and Ravager is what I think we can go with.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, when it comes to Urianger, the guy who when I first saw him I thought was blind. Let's see. Starts out as an Arcanist, then becomes an Astrologian, then what they call a Lithomancer. So Summoner, Astrologian, Actually, and since it talks about him also having conjure abilities, I'm gonna throw in Black Mage.
Not a bad idea.
Oh. Let's see, with Grahatia, it talks about there's talk about him filling any role as a paladin, white mage, or black mage, as a duty support NPC. And I think that's our answer right there. And that certainly would be an interesting combination. Plus, as an aside, it's nice to have a character on this list that isn't another Elzen.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's back to Makote, but the only other Makote so far on the list was Ishtola. But the other reason it's a bit amusing is, at first his primary weapon was a bow.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's tempting to go with Zero, but given Zero's given the way Zero works, I'm not quite sure. And it is very tempting to go with Godbert Manderville.
I mean, we have to do it now. Like we can't leave everybody hanging on what's going to be his class other than just the Mandeville class proper.
I can't do Manderville as its own class for obvious reasons.
That is true. It'd be too overpowered.
So, Godbert is interesting because not only does he do a lot of like grapples and wrestling techniques, but he also wields a giant fucking hammer.
So let's go with Berserker.
Okay.
You know, I can see it. Because his wife is a Dark Knight, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I can see Berserker.
As an aside, him suplexing Hildebrand is a gif I can watch for hours.
That is true.
Right? Like, he does it like 3 or 4 times, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And, of course, the whole thing of him hammer throwing a chimera.
Yes.
But aside from Berserker, oh, yeah, he is technically a goldsmith, but
Monk?
yes, I can go with monk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a specific job that maximizes grappling, because that's something I felt was better left to feats.
Let me think. I think at this point we might need to go less for battle mechanics and more for flavor. At which point an expert class might do us well.
Which one did you which of the expert jobs did you have in mind?
I'm looking at them right now. Where is it? There it is.
I know this might be a stretch, but I'm going with Noble. And the main reason I'm going with Noble is
No,
because of
that works.
their ability to ban actions.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
It doesn't mean that they can't do it, they're just heavily penalized from doing that action. But I mean, there are a few other things I could delve into, but obviously there's a lot within FF14.
Amusingly, I think Mediator might also be a good choice.
I can go with Mediator.
I mean, if you want a meme answer, Corporate Ops could also do good for him too.
Let's Covert Ops, and let's not say we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. But let me. But that I think we covered everything that I intended on covering for this particular episode. This was a bit lengthier because I knew covering the MMOs was going to be on the longer side of things. Oh, I do dread when I'm gonna have to write the world book. I will note this. When I do write the world book, I am sticking to A Realm Reborn through Endwalker.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why I'm doing that is I feel that the story from A Realm Reborn all the way to Endwalker is one complete story arc. If I were to include Dawn Trail as well, and then eventually Evercold, because for as long as it takes me to write, Evercold will be out for about a month by the time I'm ready to do it. I'll be in a situation where when another expansion comes along, I gotta do that one as well. But with ARR to Endwalker, I have one arc, and I can just close the book on that and say, in a few more years, when some more chapters come along, I'll do a part 2. Maybe.
That's fair.
If that... And... Obviously, in the coming weeks, I'm gonna be going back to square one and starting to write them proper. Do not expect anything out of it for a while, because even for writing FF1, that's gonna take me a bit. And I was at one point considering doing something with Dimensions or War of the Visions, especially since War of the Visions has been sunset. But I decided, you know what? Those things I can do on my own time. I'm not sure if there's enough for me to dedicate a whole stream to. And the case of War of the Visions, because of the sheer amount of characters, since it is somewhat channeling the whole faction play of tactics while also being a gacha, I'm not having us go through that many characters in one go.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the same reason why I know I'll do it eventually, but I'm not... I'm not all that keen on doing... say, a gacha in Legend Edition just yet. I'm sure that there's a few that would fit. I would just need some time to gather up the liquid courage in order to do it myself. I am certain that those of you who are far more adept with gacha will have answers to that. I just know that I'm not the one for the job.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It is important to know one's
I
limits.
am genuinely ashamed of the fact that I was distracted for a second, but then I got activated the moment I heard gotcha.
Oh, that is a skill issue.
And not a skill-ish me.
A WinRAR is you. But that is going to do it for this particular episode. I will be back here tomorrow for the Valley of the Judge with Flame as we go further into Fate Forge, which yes is doing a lot of the stuff I don't like in 5e, but I look at it as grounding things in a particular setting rather than trying to do you can use this for any setting, even though we all know that's a fucking lie. But
I guess it just depends how generic the setting is.
it's what I'd like to say, but that's never the argument made. It's you can run any kind of fantasy in the world's most litigious role-playing game. Which is a case of, can you? Yes. Can you do it without banging your head against the wall? Jury's out. But with that said, going forward, the Record of Swordforged Worlds will be moving to a weekly basis. And Fated Continuum will be in the position of when the muse decides that it's the right time to do it. Essentially the position that Geek Watch is in. When there's the right time and the right people, then I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. But I still have a few other surprises along the way, as well as some as well as some old friends coming back. And I'm probably going to be forgetting that tomorrow is a holiday when I really shouldn't. So that'll be for future episodes. So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Goodbye.